What's good, y'all? It's your boy Cal Mill, and I'm here making an astrology video based upon Saturn, my Saturn in the fourth house, or just in case if anybody else has Saturn in the fourth house. I'm gonna just get into it. What I know is that Saturn is the planet of contraction, it's the planet of delays, it's the planet of ambition, it's the planet of goals, it's the planet of seriousness. That's what it represents. I happen to have Saturn inside the fourth house, along with two other planets. My Sun is in the fourth house, and my Mercury is in the fourth house. Excuse me. So, I have a stellium. What I could say about Saturn, first of all, before I even get into that, I didn't know, like when I was young, I don't think nobody was really into astrology or, really gave a fuck about astrology because of the simple fact that it's taboo and it's like, it's not something that's relatable to reality, you know what I'm saying? But I have to make that correction because astrology is related to reality in a way, even if it's like, ancient or a science is unspoken of. That does not mean that it's not a part of reality. It's not a part of how we do things on a day in and day out based on a daily basis. So what I can tell you that for me what Saturn is that when I grew up like in my environment and like when I grew up, you know what I mean, like in my household or whatever, like I had a rough time. I had a real hard time growing up inside of my house, you know what I'm saying, like as a child, because the first house is the house itself, the second house is what you value, the third house is communications, your surroundings, a person, place, or a thing, and it's also your mental agility, your mental ability. And for me growing up and having Saturn in the fourth house, things were hard, and there's a lot of restrictions on like my emotions, you know what I'm saying, like on how I felt, dealing with the restriction that I dealt with as far as like being limited to certain things. I feel like that only was brought about because that came from other people's insecurities, you know what I'm saying. People with Saturn in the fourth house, I know with me having Saturn in the fourth house, I deal with other people's insecurities and their restrictions versus me dealing with my own, you know what I'm saying. Me dealing with my own is me being on my own, to fend for myself emotionally, to understand and to be happy and to gain knowledge of self through my happiness, you know what I'm saying, and also gain knowledge of self through through the delays, through the times where there's nobody there that you can confide to or understand. It's almost like confinement, you know what I'm saying, with the emotions, you know what I'm saying. It's confinement within certain groups within the community, certain people within the community, within my community at least. I grew up in a very, very violent neighborhood, you know what I'm saying. As far as police brutality, all the way up to shit going on in the streets. But with having Saturn in your fourth house, with having Saturn just within you or just affecting you in a way, I will say that Saturn helps build strength, it helps build character. It's the planet of time also. So me having Mercury there, Mercury is a fast moving planet. This is about the Sun in the fourth house, but I'm just elaborating on how Mercury I guess conjuncts or is communicating with Saturn. Saturn is a planet of time and delays, so I know that with Mercury being there, I know that Mercury is a fast-moving planet. It's the planet of communication, writing, courage, I would say the will, But with Mercury there, it's fast moving. So me, the type of person that I am, I'm the type of person, like, I need you to, like, I'm a get straight to the point type of person. Like no bullshit, just keep it real and get straight to the point, you know what I'm saying? Because Mercury likes that speed. It wants you to hurry things up. It don't want you, you know what I'm saying, to take your time. You know, it deals with the nerves. It deals with I guess you could say, like, the first thought. Like, the first thought you have in your mind, you just gotta initiate it. You gotta go, you gotta make your move, go with the flow, stay connected to that. You know what I'm saying? But with Saturn there, affecting Mercury, Saturn wants you to, Saturn don't like to waste time. Saturn doesn't want his time wasted on shit that can't help it, you know what I'm saying, climb its goals necessarily. And with that being said, I have my sun there, so it's kind of like it's seriousness based all around my ego, or based around who I am, you know what I'm saying, as a person. So it makes me a serious person, aside from not having an ego, you know what I'm saying. So that's pretty much what it deals with when you make references about Saturn. Let me get back to y'all in a few.